Welcome back to the analysis desk. Well, Janko, what do you say about that one?
What can you say about that one, Dan? Pretty dominating performance from Luminosity. I was positively surprised. We were talking about how they need to step up individually first, and they did that and then some. They also really outplayed Liquid as a team. A lot of those rounds, I mean, one of the most notable ones was on their CT side, that Hiko round, where they just made a good read. At some point, they realized there's not that much time left. They took a risk to get map info. They realized that Liquid was going B, and they stacked the bomb sites and won the round.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about that? Obviously, I feel like you guys were kind of pulling for the upset. Like you're laying down a lot of criteria. Like we've been watching these guys. You guys are kind of expecting it. So, Dowse,
it's one of those things that it feels like Liquid are just slowly deteriorating as a team. And I'm not entirely sure what's causing it. Maybe it's just players losing form. But Luminosity, as a roster, they're at the stage now where 2 months together, you're starting to see results. And that's what you want from a team that's been together for that long and has the skill to outperform some people. You know, their recent results have been, I guess, mind-blowing. You know, the SK game that we referenced earlier on Cobblestone, where they took it to, was it a triple overtime? So
double or triple,
double triple. It was ridiculous. And that shows a lot of brilliance in mentality, which is a huge thing as well. When you have a roster that's been together for so long, like SK has, like Virtus Pro has, you expect their mentality to be really well trained. Luminosity Gaming, as a new team, may not have that just yet, but to be able to take teams that are so well performed to a long match and actually win it shows a lot about a new squad, and that's what's exciting about Luminosity Gaming to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Luminosity, they have been showing us that they have structure. They've been building structure into their game. Overpass has been, one of the other maps where you can see a lot of interesting things on the T side, and they're a team that really embrace that. And it's not for the light of heart. It's not for mouse sports, for example. So I think that's probably your joke. I probably stole that. But yeah. So with Luminosity, we're seeing progress. Do you think it's going to cap out because of skill, or where do you see them?
You can't really know, like, what is their ceiling, right? There's obviously always room for improvement, but some of these players are fairly new to the scene, to us as well. We haven't seen much of them, so even when you look back at a player like coldzera, you really weren't, expecting him, and he first showed up. Yes, he had good games, good tournaments, but you weren't expecting him to become the best player in the world. So as you grow as a team, that's when your individual players start thriving as well. So yeah, for Luminosity, it's about still getting experience, getting more and more chances of competing against the best opposition. And then when you see how they fare and how they improve as a team, we can get more information on them.
And Jack, it does kind of seem like from some of these results, like Liquid sorely need the coach, but maybe this also is in part perhaps in them making some alterations. Do you feel like Liquid here were playing kind of a little bit halfway, or I mean they obviously lacked the confidence and they couldn't get anything working for themselves, but like where did you see like the biggest problems for Liquid?
I think it was like, well, one thing that really stuck out for me on their CT side was the difference in the level of creativity shown by either teams. I think the Luminosity T side started out as I might have expected from them as a new team. Like they were making a lot of fast plays, not a lot of complicated utility stuff going on, but they started to slow things down and they were showing so many different ways to play a T side. And then Liquid on the other side were sticking really rigidly to having 2 players on the B bomb site every time. JDM was at the back, and it was so clear from a couple of the B bomb site takes that Luminosity were all over that. They knew exactly what was coming at them, and they were just crossing so quickly onto the bomb site. JDM had no way really to contribute meaningfully, or they were getting a super early smoke out onto Z connector. So again, just no way that they could play around that, and there was just no adaptation. So on one hand, you have Luminosity, lining up the P250s by the ladder and the ramp, and on both sides, trying all kinds of different approaches to the game. And Liquid kind of seemed stuck in quite a rigid way of approaching it, and maybe that is just a new system.
This was sick, by the way. Like SHOOWTiME getting the 3 wall bangs, but I think. I mean, obviously can't know the inner workings of a team, but to me, at least from the outside, it seems that Liquid right now is a team in disarray completely. Okay, they didn't have a coach for a while, which is a big deal for them, but even without that, you look at some of the rounds they lost. I mean, they lost a 4v2 round on the CT side, knowing pretty much where both players are. You lose the anti-eco round. You go for an outer execute with 20 seconds left, pretty much. At that point, smallest of things goes wrong. You don't have time to, as we've been saying, react to it and still close out the round. So that's a way bigger problem than them losing to Luminosity in this game. So I think they will need to go back and have a team talk or just figure things out, see what is the way forward for them, whether they can do it with the same roster, or are there some changes that need to be made?
All right, so how are you guys feeling about this next result? Because obviously Liquid on paper should obviously be the victors, but we can see the context of this. They're not having good performances. Luminosity are looking quite confident versus the very uncertain Liquid. So I'll start with you, Jack. Where do you see this one going?
Well, I think Cobble's a really strong map for Liquid. They've got a lot of experience on it, and they should definitely be favoured. On the other hand, Luminosity are just coming off that upset double overtime. They weren't able to seal it out, but to take the best team in the world so far, I think says a lot about your Cobble side. So maybe this result was a time building. Maybe that Luminosity's skill has been increasing, and they're just now reaching the level that gets them over the hump against more experienced teams. So maybe they're going to take it.
I'm expecting Luminosity to win this one, actually. I think just as far as mentality goes, Liquid seem to not have it right now. Their performance in Northern Arena recently it felt uninspiring, whereas Luminosity Gaming, what they're showing is really inspiring to me. They're showing a new fresh breath of air of CS. We talk about the T side of CS and how important it is for a team. That's where they're going to make their advantages known. That's where they're going to start showing what they can do as a Counter-Strike team. And on that game of Train, Luminosity showed so many different aspects of how to attack a site, how to change up, and how to beat the defense. Now, Cobble can be considered a bit of a T-sided map, which means that if they can continue that inspiration, that creativity forward, that gives them a huge advantage. And I just don't feel like Liquid really have it right now in their heads to maybe adapt to what Luminosity are throwing at them.
And Janko, I think I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say then?
Liquid are going to get wrecked.
You said it.
Okay, there we go.
I didn't say it.
I guess that about wraps up. Unless you have anything else to add to the discussion.
You tell me, Dan. You obviously know what I'm going to say in advance.
Well, Janko's done. Janko's done, and so are we for the analysis segment. So we'll go to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll see whether or not Liquid can bring themselves together and take the win that they should probably have over Luminosity.